Hello, I'm Alexandra Wenman, and I'm here with my dear friend and fellow transformational therapist, Lorraine Flaherty. Hi, Laurie.
Hi.
How are you? So we thought we'd start sort of a series of just little video chitty chats, conversations, just to talk to you a little bit about what we do and some really interesting concepts that we've sort of unravelled through our journey from the time that we met each other in this lifetime.
This time around.
And sort of what we've discovered. So I don't know, where should we start, Laurie? Should we start with where we met?
Yeah.
How we met?
Yeah.
Do you want to kick us off?
So we met at a meditation group with Stuart Pearce, and we used to meet on the new moon and the full moon, and we would chant, and really it was just about a collection of people coming together to generate positive energy and send it out to the world. And Stuart organised lots of retreats, and one of the ones that he'd organised was for December 2012, which was obviously a significant time, and it was going to Egypt, and it was a temple tour, so it was going to be going to all of the most significant temples, and I knew that the moment he talked about it, I knew that that was the place in the world that I needed to be on that date. So the times of the
and we
Mayan
sort of
calendar and all the sort of key talks about significant things happening at that time.
We'd sort of separately been, well, we sort of hadn't really, we'd been on this meditation group, but we hadn't had a chance to properly connect yet. We'd sort of seen each other there, but I'd never stayed for dinner afterwards or whatever, so it was like, but I knew that Laurie was one person that I wanted to kind of get to know more. And separately, I'd been having all these messages about Egypt and the end of 2012 and needing to get to Egypt. That was like my big draw card. So
yeah, and I had spent many visits in Egypt, but it had always been at the other end. I mean, I'd been to Cairo and I had visited the pyramids, but I hadn't actually done Luxor and Karnak and the big temples, partly because I felt I'd been waiting for the right time to go and do it. So for me, it's always about timing and being with the right people and with the right group. And I'd never wanted to go to Egypt or to the temples as a tourist. I always wanted to go there when I could do a proper trip. We could go and actually do work there, and that's what this trip was going to be all about. And I remember the excitement of the trip anyway, and arriving on the first day, and we settled in, and then we took a drive out to the big temple complex at Karnak. And I'm not an overly emotional person. I'm definitely not somebody that's prone to
I am.
It's prone to tears. It takes a lot.
lot.
And so I was delighted to be there, and I'm with a group of incredible women and Stuart holding the space. But I found that as I walked into the temple, at a certain point, it was almost like a flood of memories. I wasn't entirely sure what it was, but I found myself sobbing, absolutely sobbing. And I was just really glad that it was dark and that it was nighttime, because I didn't want this group of women to think that I was, crazy in the group. So I was hiding under my hair, which is also quite handy. And then I realised that in my meditations, I had been shown a particular process that could be used to clear energies, particularly stagnant, stuck, heavy energies. And instinctively, intuitively, it was like, and it was almost like an inner voice saying, now would be a good time. Now would be a good time to practice this, because also what I've been conscious of was the voiceover of Omar Sharif. Beautiful voice, but he was talking about what had gone on, the history of that particular temple, and he had referred to Akhenaten as the heretic king, and that tipped me into an absolute rage, because as far as I'm concerned, Akhenaten was somebody who was speaking the truth. He was all about the one God. He was all about love and beauty and us finding our connection, our own inner power. So hearing Omar Sharif referring to him, this old idea of the priesthood, who were very angry with Akhenaten because he was trying to get rid of the organised and the sort of financial institutions that those religions had created. And so I knew that there was a lot of misguided, wrong information and a lot of power struggles that had happened in that temple. So I did a big clearing, and I could feel all the weight of these heavy energies and the lies and the wrongdoing, and slowly I could feel this energy starting to lift with this technique that I'd been given. And what was really extraordinary was that when the energy lifted, suddenly the space filled with light, this really beautiful energy that felt like, I don't know, it just felt like the space had been filled with beautiful angels. And I thought, oh, that's really interesting, because that wasn't what I hadn't intended for that. I didn't know this was a new technique for me. So I just thought it was a result of the clearing that it made space. Didn't really think any more of it. And it was only the next day when Al and I were sat by the pool, and I confessed, having sort of bonded with her and confessed that I'd had this rather strange experience in the Karnak temple. And I just remember your eyes kind of opening and saying, where were we? What bit of the temple complex were you when that thing happened? And I described being in the place where there's huge big columns.
I think is it the Hypostyle Hall?
The Hypostyle, yeah,
with the massive big column.
Yeah, and it was right at that part. And then I'll hand over to you. I'll let you explain your piece, because it was really amazing. The
really,
synchronicity.
Such amazing synchronicity. So leading up to end of 2012, sort of in early 2012, much like Laurie, in meditation, I was given what I now know to be a new healing technique. I was given symbols and I was given mudras, and I was channeling various different beings, the Archangel Metatron being one, and Lord Melchizedek, and a group of beings that actually originally came through as the different Egyptian gods and goddesses, but began to call themselves the Higher Galactic Council, the Galactic Council of Light. And the healing system that I was given is what I now call Precious Wisdom, and it's just been certified by the CMA, which is amazing, so I'm going to start teaching it. But at this time, I was told during meditation that I needed to take my symbols to Egypt, and I needed to anchor them there, whatever that meant. I was given an attunement, and I kind of had to take the attunement around to all the temples. On this particular evening, which was the first evening we'd arrived, in the temple of Karnak, I was kind of wandering around Karnak temple, feeling very emotional as well, but for once I wasn't blubbing. It's usually me that's blubbing. And I was sort of waiting for the right time and the right place to do my little attunement with my symbols, which they very much come in with a beautiful, it's a golden light. I now know it to be the universal golden ray of Lord Melchizedek. It's absolutely exquisite, this light that comes in. And just like walking around going, now, not yet, now, not yet. And like Laurie, I had a feeling that I needed to do a little bit of clearing. So I did a bit, but it wasn't like my normal thing. But all of a sudden I just felt this sweep of energy. It was like the energy just did this, like a Hoover came in and sort of went, and I felt all the space lift, and everything in my being just went, now, do it now. And so I just did stood where I was in the Hypostyle Hall, kind of towards the end, and just did my little attunement, which, at the time you're kind of going, yeah, this is just a little thing that only I can feel. And then we sat around the pool the next day. Lorraine and I realised that we were both channeling information from the same group of beings in our meditation, and we were very much working together, and everything that we'd both been given was through the heart. Mm-hmm. Very much to do with love and loving kindness and loving compassion, and through the gateway of the heart. And we've both been given symbols and information. And then for the rest of the trip, it was like 10-day trip, I think it was. 10-day trip. We went from temple to temple, mind sweeping and bringing in the light. And I think at that time we weren't even necessarily that sure about exactly what it is we were doing, and it's now been 4 years, nearly 3.5 years, 3 and a bit years since that trip, and we're now much more aware of the work that we've been doing, and we've now kind of we work together a lot of the time. We've created some workshops and courses and retreats which we call Get Over It. And it's not meant to sound harsh, the term Get Over It, but it is the techniques and tools that we've developed, and we work in a very, very different way, but the coming together of our separate techniques is very much about clearing out the old, clearing that negative and old, dense karma, and bringing in the new, bringing in the light, and realigning you with your soul purpose and your soul mission on this planet. And so I'm gonna hand over to Laurie to tell you a little bit about how she works, and then I'll explain to you a little bit more about me and how I work.
Yeah. So I guess I do see the work that I do. I do call it kind of spiritual feng shui. It's like feng shui for the soul.
She's a Hoover.
Yeah, I am a bit like a Hoover, but also like a guide. So almost like a spiritual GPS. So my job is to help people to identify the glitches in the programming in the mind. I see the mind as being like a giant computer, and it's full of files and it's full of data. And if there are any glitches, or if there are any areas where there are negative beliefs or wrong ideas, or there is karmic residue, there's unfinished business, then it's going to impact everything that a person does. It's going to have an effect. And the law of attraction says that if you know what you want and you visualize it and you meditate and you chant for it, that it can happen. But I've seen time and time again that isn't quite true, because the outside world is always a reflection of what's going on inside. So you have to do the clearance first. So you've got to go in and clear out all the old rubbish before you can make way for the new to come in. So I'm very much about guiding people in, find the areas that aren't working, and then take them through a series of processes that will help to heal, that will help them to resolve, and to reset themselves, to reset the inner programs so that they can achieve what they want.
I love it. And same with me. I'm very aware of, I work as a channel, I'm an angel healer, I teach Angelic Reiki, I also work with Precious Wisdom, but I'm also trained in many different techniques such as theta healing, one command therapy, but I've sort of brought it all together in my own process. And one of the things I've become very aware of, while I'm very aware that as divine beings and having a direct divine connection, we're already perfect, on this earth plane we are human, and the human has a lot of patterns and programs and things that need to be addressed, that need to be looked at with love and cleared and healed, so that you can reconnect with that divine essence at the core of you. And this is what this is sort of the work that I do. I kind of like to call it a sort of spiritual alchemy. So it is like helping you to delve into those parts of you, look at your emotions, thoughts and beliefs with love. And some of that does inevitably bring up past lives. I sort of have this way of, I can often just tune right in. I have very amazing guides. I'm a clairvoyant, clairaudient, and they often will just show me like a little video playing across my vision of a past life where there's a belief that I need to kind of root around in that past life for the person, and then we pull out that belief. And in my case, I'm not like Lorraine where I don't put the person in trance, but I kind of just go to the place in that past life, pull out that belief and kind of quickly transmute it. But I'm always recommending them to go and delve deeper and have sessions with Laurie to see the whole picture and piece it together. But you'll often find that lots of different lifetimes and facets come up in this work. And I work with angels, I work with the Ascended Masters, and I work with also what I call the Celestial Guardians, which are different star beings or star nations. And they're just like angels. They're absolutely loving beings of light. So I kind of do that work than sort of straight mediumship. And it's less about prophecy and more about healing you on that deep soul level, so that you can move into your divine self and your divine blueprint, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we work so different. Like our techniques are so different, but we do very much the same thing. So it fits together really in a really loving, in a really beautiful way. Yeah. And we work very multidimensionally. So
we do, and sometimes I guess I'm a bit more the grounded, sometimes slightly more practical aspects of things. And Al has this fantastic way of just taking you out to the outer reaches of the cosmos, and then everything just transforms while you're there, because you can't experience.
I'm the woo-woo one.
Well, we have our moments, but in a good way. But we find that there is a perfect balance.
Yeah.
In what we do, and that the intention and the aim is exactly the same.
Absolutely.
It's about getting people to a place. For me, I mean, I call the work I do inner freedom therapy. It's about finding inner freedom within to be the best version of self. And then once we've aligned and we've become the best version of the person that we're supposed to be here on the earth plane, that's when consciousness starts to expand. And it is a bit like a revolution in consciousness, isn't it?
Totally.
It's about the recognition that who we are here on the earth plane and what we're doing here is really, really important. But we have to remember who we really are. We have to remember that we are so much more than just this body, that we are these spirit beings temporarily housed in these human forms. And never before in the history of the Earth's journey has it been more important for people to remember that, to remember that there is so much more. And it's happening. The information, the evidence, the proof is now coming through. And
absolutely.
It's why it's such an exciting time. So the work has to be done multidimensionally.
Definitely.
And also I think both of us agree that there has to be a whole variety of tools and techniques and different methods and different ways, because not everything is going to appeal to everybody.
Yeah.
Not every technique is going to work for each individual person. So both of us have trained in loads of different modalities, and we're able to adapt and adjust what we do to suit the person that we're working with at the time, because that's really, really important. There isn't one journey or one route that is right for everybody. And I think in the past, some of the more dogmatic ways of thinking tried to put everybody into the same box and tried to get everybody to process things in the same way, and that just doesn't work.
Every soul is completely unique. We're like fingerprints and snowflakes.
Absolutely.
You know, there's no two the same. So it's like when you, it's also like, and it's also very holistic. You know, like when you go to the doctor today, like modern medicine or allopathic medicine, it's like if you've got, you know, something wrong with your bowels, they only look at that area of the body. They don't look at the whole underlying causes. And a lot of the work we do is looking at the beliefs, thoughts, feelings, patterns and programs, trapped emotions and so on and so forth, that actually end up sometimes manifesting as a physical issue or illness, or as a block in your life somewhere. So we have a very holistic approach, a very bespoke approach. So every session with either of us, or every retreat that we do, or every workshop that we do, is completely geared towards the person or the people or the group that we're working with. It's absolutely unique and bespoke, and we're very good at tuning in to what people do need. We're very aware of the sort of, you know, the level of consciousness that people are at, and the level of work that needs to be done. So anyway, we've got some exciting programs coming up for you all.
Yeah.
So we just ask for you to, if you're interested, you can check out our websites, and Laurie's is
innerjourneys.co.uk.
innerjourneys.co.uk. I commit that to memory. And I'm alexandrawenman.com, and it's WENMAN. So check out our websites, have a look, and if you like what we do, then we're at your service.
Absolutely.
Thank you.